Good morning, everyone. I am your teacher for this subject, Aduk 103. And for today, I will go into discussing the tools in evaluating appropriate assessment tools. So, as individuals, we constantly wait for our decisions and options to know how well they met specific goals, hence assessment. So, however, in a formal context like schools and the workplace assessment, it happens on a larger scale and you need a particular tools to pull them off. So today, you'll learn about different assessment tools that will help you evaluate performance in various contexts. So at the end of the lessons, the students are expected to identify what are the basic assessment tools and techniques. Then second is to appreciate the different types of assessment tools and techniques. And for the third one is to evaluate the purposes of using assessment tools and techniques even in online distance learning. So first, what is assessment tools? Okay, assessment tools is used to measure a student's abilities, skills, and or fluency in a given subject, or to measure one's progress towards academic proficiency and a specific subject area. So an educational assessment tool is used for evaluating things to enhance performance and their level of knowledge in a particular subject education. Assessment tools can also be used during the learning process or an ongoing basis. So we also have characteristics of an assessment tools. So first is we have reliability. So reliability, the right assessment tools produce the same results over time. So there is the consistency or accuracy in these results. Here you should consider whether the test can replicate results whenever it is clear. So reliability is about making sure that different test forms in a single administration are equivalent, that results of given test equivalent to the original tests, and that test difficulty remains constant, clear to hear, or even administrate. Next is we have validity. Validity of an assessment boils down to how well it measures the different criteria being tested. So in other words, it is the idea that the test measures what it intends to measure. So one of the most important characteristics of any quality of assessment is the content validity. So like for example, if an assessment is designed to measure algebra performance, then it is said that reading comprehension issues should not interfere with the student's ability to demonstrate what they know, understand, and can do in algebra. So this means your assessment method should be relevant to their specific context. So other example, if you are testing physical strength, you shouldn't send out written text. Instead, your test should include physical exercises like push-ups and weightlifting. So for the third one, we have the fairness. So a good assessment tool is equitable, which means it doesn't favor or disfavor any participant assessment. So it implies that students are tested using methods and procedures most appropriate to that. So why fairness in testing is important or is self-evident. Everything either demonstrate what he or she understands, knows, and can do so. Fourth, we have this standardization. Standardization means applying consistency to your testing method. So, for example, if you're sending out the questionnaire, it should have the same stuff of questions for all participants, and all the answers should be graded using the same criteria. So for the last one, we have the student engagement and motivation. Motivation. So student engagement and motivation are somewhat intangible trait. Engagement is synonymous enjoyment. Student might be engaged to the effort that the student is putting into the assessment. So engagement and motivation are not the same thing, and student demonstrates engagement because of his or her motivation. A student can be motivated to do his or her best in assessment experience for a variety of reasons, generally organized before external or internal external motivations to demonstrate engagement. So it might gain from the prizes or rewards guide to assessment performance, or conversely manage or the sequences of the internal motivation to demonstrate an engagement. It might gain from the desire to do well on the test or garner positive attention to the place, or a competitive urge to outperform the peers. So now let's proceed on the basic assessment tools and techniques. And let's discuss first the diagnostic assessment tools and techniques. As we all know, diagnostic assessment can help you identify your students' current knowledge of a subject. So there is still sets and probabilities and clarified misconceptions before teaching takes place. Okay, so first is we have the interview. An oral interview-based assessment is a technical and structured interview used to skills, knowledge, and abilities, assessing candidates so that the students' interviews are discussions with students about their understanding to scientific concepts and phenomena. You can do this when individuals, students, or smaller groups, or how are the rest of the class doing in independent work. You can also do interviews if you have teaching arrangement. Next is we have the pretest. This is a non-graded assessment tool used to determine pre-existing subject knowledge. So typically pretests are administered prior to, of course, to determine knowledge baseline. But here they are used to test students prior to topical material coverage throughout the course. So the pretest covers material. The student is not expected to know but serve as motivation tool or improve course for poor performance. So in contrast, we have also this what do we call post-test. So this is conducted just after completion of the course to determine what the students have learned clearly. Post-test belong in summative assessment. Next, we have the self-assessment. Students develop their own list of characteristics or qualities to judge their own work. Students who learn to monitor their own progress and judgment, their own efforts will strive to improve. So it requires students to reflect on their own work and judge how well they have performed in relation to the assessment criteria. So the focus is not necessarily having students generate their own knowledge, but rather providing opportunities for them to be able to identify what constitutes a good or not.